Hello, everyone. Frank and Darren back again, Slaughterland Movie Podcast. And this time we're talking the best and worst of George A. Romero's Land of the Dead for Kentucky Bravo. Land of the Dead, Darren. I think I'm right in saying that the last blockbuster from George that actually made money.
Yeah, this did okay, actually. You know, I mean,
it was like, what, 50? Close to 50 million?
Yeah, yeah,
like
close to 50 million on a 15 million budget. I mean, didn't do too great in the US, like 20 million. I think 27 of it came from international. But a long time coming. You know, he'd been trying to get this film made for a long time. I mean, it's 20 years after Day of the Dead. And I remember seeing the Variety announcement. I was at work and someone came over and thrust it under my nose. And, you know, George A. Romero's going to do another zombie film. And I just lost my shit. I thought, this is fantastic. This is great. This is what we've all been waiting for. And I saw this in the US. I saw it in a cinema in New York on its opening day. And I liked it. I do like it. I don't think it's the best, but I do think it has a lot of really cool moments, a lot of really cool characters. For me, it just suffers a little bit by being that bit too glossy. For a Romero film. I like his, you know, gore and his effects work and his zombies to be a bit more spit and sawdust. Whereas in
really,
this, they were almost too good. It was kind of bordering on what you would see in The Walking Dead or something like that. Even though that wasn't. Well, it's K&B, isn't it? It's Nicotero and his gang. But I do prefer the look of the zombies in Day and Dawn to what they look like in this. But there are some really cool moments. I mean, and as always with Romero, you're not getting a full story. You're just getting a snapshot of a timeline. You know, there's no start and end to this at all. It's just kind of, this is a period of time when, you know, the dead are roaming the earth. And that's what happens in all three of his, or four, or five, or six of his films. I can't remember how many he's done.
In different parts of the country, too.
Yeah. It's just a segment. Like, there's no solution ever. There's no explanation and there's no solution. And so, we just kind of, we're introduced to a bunch of characters that actually pretty good characters in this one. Actually, John Leguizamo, Asia Argenta, Simon Baker, who I'm surprised hasn't gone on to do anything else really. I don't recognize him from anything else other than Land of the Dead.
Devil Wears Prada.
Is he in that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why I know that, ladies and gentlemen, don't ask.
And then obviously Dennis Hopper, who's great in this.
The staple. Yes.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I got this movie. I saw it in the theater once, remembering liking it. And Darren, I have this not on Blu-ray, not on 4K, not on VHS, not on DVD. HD DVD I have this on.
Oh, really? I used to have that as well. The little purple.
They were like maroon color.
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing, right? It was Blu-rays and HD DVDs were in competition.
Yeah. And
then we all found out who won.
Yeah, exactly. I had this as well on HD DVD. I totally forgot about that. But this time around, I bought the 4K, 3-disc 4K edition, which has got some really cool stuff on it. I'm glad I've got it.
There's a lot of kills in this, isn't there?
There is. Yeah, it's really fast-paced. It's really lean. I watched the unrated cut.
How was that compared to the rated one?
You know what? Every time I watch the unrated cut, I think I've only seen the theatrical cut once, which was when I saw it in the cinema.
Yeah.
I don't know what the differences are, to be honest. I have no idea. I think there's about 3 minutes difference. I think there is some gore that's that's different. There's more exposition with regards to Fiddler's Green and things like that. I think. So let's give this a go.
Let's give it a go because you and I we love zombie movies. We love George. We're especially you because you wouldn't let him eat breakfast. But you know that'll always haunt you. You know for the rest of your life. What are your heroes? But anyone who wants to look for that story, go back and watch a previous episode. We're not going to go through that again. Your best character for Kentucky Bravo, Land of the Dead.
I actually found it really difficult to choose between Leguizamo as Chomo and Simon Baker as Riley.
Cholo.
Is it Cholo or Chomo? Cholo.
Cholo. There's an L there. Be
It is
careful
Cholo.
how you
Yeah,
say.
yeah. And coming into this, I was thinking Simon Baker, but I do like the arc that Leguizamo has in this. You know, trying to hold Kaufman to ransom to get himself one of these fancy condos or whatever in Fiddler's Green, and ultimately tracking him down as a zombie as well, which I thought was really cool. I think I love Leguizamo in movies, and I loved him in. You remember the Kurt Russell Steven Seagal plane thing?
Executive Decision.
Executive Decision. I thought he was
He's good in
great
that one.
Yeah,
He's good in the John Wick one too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And The Menu, he was good in.
The Menu, yeah, he's always incredibly watchable. But yeah, and Simon Baker as Riley's really good in it as well. A kind of, you know, a real kind of a solid protagonist in this film. So yeah, but I think Leguizamo, Cholo, is my favorite character.
Very good, you know, because my favorite character is Big Daddy.
Oh, right, okay.
I like Big Daddy. I hate his scream though, but you know, other than that, I like this zombie who's thinking. You know, and remember he's pumping gas and everything, and he's actually upset that his fellow dead are being treated like this. It's almost kind of a subtle message of we were and still are.
Well, they're
people.
Evolving, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're evolving.
Well, they still eat brains, they still eat people, you know, but we still have a purpose.
But they're becoming more savvy, aren't they? I mean, it's kind of like he's this movie's version of Bob from Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
And he's that little bit more intelligent. You know, he can use a gun, he can fill up cars, he's the most kind of advanced zombie that we've seen in any Romero film in terms of his intellect, I guess.
They would have to get that way eventually, wouldn't they? I mean, unless you're decaying constantly, but it doesn't look like in George's movies they are decaying. You're dead and that's the way you stay, unless you have certain injury or everything. But it's I like how the zombies that we see all died from a different way. Like with the one girl, you know, looks like she got into a car accident. The butcher looks like he was stabbed to death. But Big Daddy, I don't know what happened to him. You know, most of them I think look like they got some either bit on themselves. But yeah, he's the one thing I can't take though is his screaming.
Why?
You know, he does that at conventions.
Oh, does he?
When you go take pictures with him, he's all in his makeup and everything like that. He'll scream, "Ah!" You know, behind you and everything.
Eugene Clark.
Would you stop, Eugene? You know, God damn. You know, just I had enough. Big Daddy. You know what? He's a staple now. He's probably one of those, you know, top 10 zombies that you know by name, besides the Tar Man, you know, and of course, the one from Zombie biting the shark.
Oh yeah, the Shark Wrangler.
Yes. Okay, worst character.
Yeah, I found this one difficult. I'm gonna say Charlie.
Good with that kid, because I'm real good with mine.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like he's just in there for that one gag at the start.
You hate a guy that looks like a zombie but isn't.
Well, there's just that one gag at the start, and yeah, I just feel like he's just there in that makeup just for that one gag, which doesn't necessarily work. I don't mind. He's okay, but I found, you know, characters like Arsha Argento's character and Simon Baker's and certainly Dennis Hopper's character more interesting than. I don't think he's terrible, but I just think it's the fact that he's there for that gag, and then sticks around. That, yeah, it's the gag doesn't work for me.
He doesn't work as a supporting character.
I think he does, but it's. The reason he's in all that makeup is so that we initially confuse him as for a zombie. And I wasn't confused at all because of the way he walked in. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I can understand. You know, my worst character is your favorite character, Cholo.
Okay.
I don't like him. I don't like John Leguizamo in this. He's annoying. He's out for himself. people gravitate to him that look for him as kind of like a funny leader. And I hate the way he speaks sometimes.
Yeah.
In this, he's like, you got to move out of the way so I can shoot him. You see, kind of things like that. like he's a gangster. I just don't. I think, and plus the way how it ends with him is stupid.
Yeah.
With him and Dennis Hopper, I think I think he's annoying. I think John Leguizamo in this movie is just as annoying when he did The Pest. It's
Pest.
The Pest. He did a movie called The Pest.
What's that?
It's supposed to be a comedy where he's actually just an annoying character.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen that.
Don't worry. You don't have to. It's awful. Okay. Best line.
Best line. So it's after Cholo has threatened Kaufman over the phone and demanded the $5 million ransom for Dead Reckoning. Kaufman puts the phone down, and I think one of his aides says, "Trouble?" And he just says, "In a world where the dead are returning to life, the word trouble loses much of its meaning." And I thought that's a really cool line. Good on you, George.
They said the dead's not the worst. It's not the worst thing going on right now.
Yeah, exactly.
The living are still pains in the asses.
Yeah.
Mine's also coming from Kaufman.
Okay.
And it's at the end. Get back here, you bastard! You got the fucking keys.
Oh, who's
his valet?
Yeah, is running up the ramp. Yeah.
See you later, sir. Get back here, you bastard! You got the fucking keys. I love something about Dennis Hopper being angry. Is just it feels good.
He's great.
He's awesome. Okay, your worst line.
Worst line is coming from Dennis Hopper as well.
Ooh, okay.
And it's a really kind of clumsy moment, which at the time when I first saw this film, I thought, oh, that's a bit naff. And it still feels that way now. It's when he walks out the elevator and he's got those two bags in his hand. And
money, right?
The Sutherland, I think his name is, the board member says, "What's in the bags?" And he goes, "Money." He goes, "Whose money?" And he just kind of pathetically grabs him and goes, "Watch out, get down, quick," and shoots him in the fucking neck. And then says, "Ours." But it's that whole interplay there with Kaufman trying to trick him, like physically trick him, which just looks naff.
Oh, get down quick.
Yeah.
Why didn't he just do a Departed on him, right? And just go
exactly.
Be done.
Yeah. It was just I don't know. It just didn't look right on screen the way that he did it. But yeah, that would be my worst line.
All right, my worst line is this: there are three things a man must do alone: be born, die, and well, we all know the other one. I'm all ears. What other one is that, Jolo? What other one? Tell me. Cook?
You asking me?
I'm asking Cholo. He's the one who said it. What's the other one thing a man must do alone? I don't know. It's stupid.
Who knows? You get a different answer from every bloke that you ask.
Be born, you're not alone. Yeah. You're not alone. To die, you're probably... You could be alone. But the other one, I really want to know what it is. I know what he means. I really do. I'm not stupid. Yeah. But it's just, it's context is, everything here. Yeah. But I just hate him as a character and everything he says. Best kill.
There's quite a few in this. There's quite a few gnarly gore sequences. There's two or three that really stand out for me. One of them is quite early on in the film when the camera's kind of panning across the room and you see one of the zombies has got his hand down someone's throat, pulling all his gizzards out through his mouth, which looks horrible.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah. Then there's the skateboarding kid who he's bitten in the neck and the arm really quickly and then sort of just pulled apart. And then there's one which is like where one of the zombies pulls the guy's top lip over the top of his head and exposes his kind of skull and everything. That's pretty gnarly. That's a great effect. So there's just a few of the best kills of mine there.
Yeah, there's hundreds of kills if you count each one.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
I went on to do went on to see everybody's dead count.
Yeah.
I think there's over at least there's close to 100 deaths in this one. Zombies and humans, bullets and torn apart and everything. There's a lot, including from Dead Reckoning. It's just shooting everything across the avenues. But for me, I got a few as well. The severed grenade hand. And the guy falls on it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
And also, what about the zombie biting the belly button ring out?
Yes, that's pretty shit. Yeah, that's pretty nasty as well, isn't it? Yeah.
And my favorite, and we mentioned this very early when we started this channel, and I talked about injuries. We talked about injuries, and I said to you, what about the shadow effect of the zombies pulling and making a wish with the person's two fingers and ripping the hand and the forearm down the middle?
Yeah.
And I remember you saying, I don't like anything with fingers.
No. Well, because there was like a Day of the Dead, there was that finger biting sequence in the film, and that's horrible when the fingers have been. It was actually cut in the UK, was that scene. And then, if you ever saw a film, I think it's Syriana with George Clooney, when they torture him and take his fingernails off, I think.
Yeah.
It's horrible. There's a line in Naked Gun where he says they'll torture him, but they'll do it slow and simple and start with nose hair and fingernails and
worst kill.
Yeah, it's what I talked about earlier. It's Kaufman killing Sutherland. It's almost comical.
What's in the bags?
Money.
Whose money?
Watch out, get out, quick.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they meant to do it that way because, Kaufman can be seen as a pretty pathetic individual at times.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just really jars with me every time I see it.
You kind of just like, oh, not this again.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, what about the kid suicide? Pushes Simon Baker's characters away, and he just shoots himself in the own mouth.
Yeah,
and it's like he did what he had to do. There was no chance for him anyway.
Yeah,
it's
kind of similar to the army guy in Day of the Dead blowing his own brains out. The big guy.
Yeah,
nasty sequence.
Yeah, like I was kind of like, out of everything, a self-suicide, it's a self-suicide. A suicide is by self. A suicide, it seems to be pretty easy going in these movies, though.
Yeah.
Best moment for you?
Best moment, I think, is the breach at the end at Fiddler's Green. Proper Romero stuff. You had the same in Dawn of the Dead at the end there when the bikers get into the shopping mall. You had the same in Day of the Dead when the wounded soldier lets all the zombies into the bunker. Yep. And you get the same here, whereas Big Daddy bursts through the glass with that. Does he use like a pneumatic drill on the window or something, doesn't he?
Yep.
So that was fun. That's pure Romero stuff. Maybe doesn't live up to the breaches that you have. Well, certainly not the one in Day of the Dead anyway, because that's just incredible. But still a great moment.
I think I have to agree with you, but I'm going to go with the Golden Triangle invasion, which is the entire city.
Yeah.
And then getting a nice little cut of Tom Savini in there.
Yes, although a bit too. Do you know what I mean? It was
wet.
A bit too in your face.
Yeah, because there's a pause.
Because he pauses and then looks into the camera.
And he does ninjutsu.
Yeah. It's
He's
too
almost
much.
backflipping.
It's almost like we get it. It's him. We don't. You know what I mean? You don't have to lay it on thick like that. But yeah. It's good to see him in there. He was also in. What was the film? Oh, he was in Terrifier, wasn't it? Terrifier 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're like, we know it's him.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost. I hate it when movies do that because I remember there was a Star Trek movie with from the Next Generation one. I think it might have been First Contact or maybe the last one, Insurrection or something like that. One of them, where Geordi, the one with the visor, loses his visor and gets implants for his eyes, and he could see. And he comes up to Picard and he's like, Captain, and it paused, and he looks at both of them so we could all see his new eyes. They were like, "Who gives a shit?" You know what I mean? Like you said, it's Tom Savini.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do this. It's me.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But
you also have Simon Pegg and
yeah, they're in the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Cage thing. But that was Land of the Dead, the last theatrical release, I think, widely of George Romero.
Okay. What did he do after that? One second.
Did he do Diary of the Dead?
Yeah, he had Diary of the Dead, which came out after that, a couple of years after, and I didn't do too well at the box office. It was quite small. It wasn't anything in the league of the 50 million that he did that Land of the Dead had made. But Diary of the Dead was fun. Dead was fun, and also
I don't like the camera movements though. That bothers me.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're not into that, then it can be a little. Do you know what I mean? It can be a little bit vomit-induced. Diary of the Dead was made for $2 million, and went on to gross 5.5 worldwide. So that's that was okay. Survival of the Dead. I don't think that got a release in the cinema. Certainly over here, it went straight to DVD. I think
over here too. It went straight to Sci-Fi. That's where it went.
Did it? Yeah. Yeah. And there's also Twilight of the Dead, which has been kind of on the cards for a little while now, which I think his family have from what I can gather, his family have finished a script that he started, and that's going to go to camera soon, I think. But we'll see. I mean, he died, Darren, fairly young. 77 is young. Ish.
Okay. But it's probably all those sausages.
Yeah.
They'll get up on you.
Start that.
But I think he had a lot more in him.
Yeah, he had a lot of ideas, and I loved what he was trying to do with Resident Evil that time. At one point he was involved with the Resident Evil first film, and they had to take it off him because he was kind of turning it more into a Romero film than a video game conversion. So it's interesting what he's done for the genre. I got to see him twice. Once in the, as I've said before, the sausage incident in the hotel in Edinburgh, and then the second time was an in-person interview with him in London. He was interviewed for about 90 minutes before a screening of Night of the Living Dead. And I got to see that, which was great. And he died not long after. So
I'm sure he ate it up. I'm sure he loved everything.
Yeah. Lovely gentleman, an absolute gentleman.
And I think the horror community ranks him very high as one of those figures that will always be talked about. It's always synonymous with zombie movies.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
And we miss him greatly.
Definitely.
All right, Kentucky Bravo. That was for you, the best and worst of Land of the Dead. Hope we did it justice. And, Darren, we got some more stuff coming up, and we'll get to it eventually. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, stick to the roads.
And the best of luck.
We'll see everybody soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.